Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome each one of you to the CEO Talk Delhi, an initiative by The Talk. My name is Anmol Garg, and I'm the founder of Sales 5X, a sales training and consulting organization, and I will be your moderator for today's discussion. CEO Talk is a platform that helps sharing ideas and insights to transform organizations and to create a better and transparent forum for meaningful business relationships and partnerships. This event is brought to you by Tata Tele Business Services. It's the country's leading enabler of connectivity and of businesses, with services ranging from connectivity, collaboration, cloud, security, IoT, and marketing solutions. Tata Tele Business Services offers the largest portfolio of ICT services for businesses in India. We have Krishnam. Krishnam, how have been things for your business?
Hi, and first of all, a good morning to all the panel members who are here. Pleasure to sharing views with you. So I'll make it very crisp. I think we have been lucky enough here in the automation industry to having been experienced such kind of sudden movements in the industry somewhere back in 2017 when GST happened, and a little later when demonetization happened. So what we deal with, especially in pharma and FMCG industry, is to automate businesses, the small and medium businesses. So when pandemic actually came in, I think what we have to keep in mind is the fundamentals of the business don't change as fast as the environment around it, like a case in a pandemic. So we kept our basic drivers in place, and one of our main important drivers was capability building. I think the first 2 months, what we have focused across all three stakeholders, which is the customer, which is the internal employees, and our network of over 3,000 odd distributors who work with us, is how can we make them capable to deal with a digital world in the future? So the first step we actually spent is we had almost like 50 sessions over the first 60 days, where every day 2 hours were spent on redefining the GTM onto the digital world. So I think that was a great opportunity which we took in, because as many of the panel members here shared, there was a panic in the initial phase to understand how to deal with the operational side of the business, the operational profitability of the business. We have been a little more lucky enough because this pandemic actually gave a boost to digitalization in SMEs and MSMEs. So once we crossed the capability building stage, we were in a stage where we were ready to again go back into the market in a digital way. And we've improved our communication with the customer through different product portfolio expansions we have did. A simple example is that a small businessman, when he is all of a sudden informed that he is not going to be opening his shop or a business for next 2 to 3 months, how is he going to deal with it? First thing was, can we provide him an option to work from home and continue his business? Because pharma was one of the industries which had the leeway from the government to be working, but we had to provide the safety and security for those people who are working. One is working from home. So we came in out with a new product offering called Home Edition, so that people can work from their home. The second thing was how to protect these stakeholders. A simple example of this was that there were 3 points at which the spread of pandemic was highly probable. A simple example is the cash transactions, exchanging cash over the counter. Second, people standing at counters. There's another grouping which happens at a medical shop, especially when the pandemic kicked in. There was a panic in the initial 1 week where people were throwing into medical shops to take vaccines or and these things were happening. So what we did is we went into a digital queue system to help SMEs deal with this kind of traffic coming in. The second part which we focused is the second stakeholders, which is our network. Okay. So we have an expansive network. Almost every single district in India has a Marg presence. So how do we ensure that these people are back to their working in a different way is what we had to focus on. And it took us about, I would say 2 to 3 weeks, where we changed and revitalized our infrastructure on the digital front, whether it is our product implementation, whether it is our support elements which are there, whether it is the upgrade elements which are there. This was completely built on a 2-week platform where all our network ecosystem became digitally capable to handle close to about 3,000 service calls which we receive on our platform in a single day. So that was a second phase which we went across with. The third was the employee safety. Definitely, it was a very paramount importance for us that close to about 800 odd people who work within the team, they are safe. They're not bothered by about the commute or the groupings. So yeah, we had a phase-wise reopening process in place. And I would say it depends business to business, how you want to, how the flexibility exists to reopen the business physically. So we had a phase-wise manner where we are only focusing on the mandatory services coming into the offices, the rest of the people working from home. Then in the second phase, during the first and second week of September, we started having the next level of the CXOs and the HODs coming back to us so that the leadership is connected at least 2 days a week. So the decision-making process is not delayed. Right. The third phase is market expansion. So we had to definitely look at new ways to reach customers, prospective customers, which was very important. So we changed our communication mix. We started expanding our platforms into digital communication platforms, including one of the very notable ones is we just set a Guinness World Record in October, as most of you might have known, for connecting 83,000 concurrent retailers across India about how to deal with COVID. And most of these people are prospective customers or the customers who are already there with us. So that's how we shaped up the initial phase of the pandemic and came back from it.
Sure. Some really interesting initiatives there, Krishnam. Wonderful. Krishnam, what kind of technology did you adopt to during the lockdown, which helped you in collaboration during this period?
So, to sensitize this, we are a core product company. As you can understand, we are an ERP platform which has expanded into payments, then into logistics. Then we are looking into other elements which can help. Right? See, when you talk about what are the tools, when you have a core platform as we had, it was easy for us to add extensions or to give value-added products within the core platform to enhance it. Because we are a pure technology company. For example, panel members, one of the respected panel members was talking about data security. Okay, so we deal with about 1 million users on our platform, and we are a leader in pharma industry for almost like 8 to 9 years now, being in this industry for 20 years, right? And whether it is the supply chain of pharmaceuticals, almost 45% of supply chain of pharmaceutical depends upon Marg ERP, how the inventory is managed, how the expiry is managed, how the compliances are filed, and so on and so forth. Right. The essence here remains, as rightly pointed out, there was always high level of sensitivity to data when it comes to financial data. Okay, always the businesses in India had a sensitivity towards financial data, and that is one of the reasons why adoption of cloud has been much slower in India than compared to other countries. Right. What pandemic has done is it has opened the mind of medium and small businesses, which is where we focus on. Okay, the lower part of the pyramid where the masses are, is that the adoption of subsidiary technologies has increased tremendously high. For example, a guy who was paying a 5 rupees or a 10 rupees with a cash has now started to think about how should I use a UPI to pay. And that is the reason you are seeing the number of digital transactions in UPI are multiplying multiple fold in the last 3 to 4 months. Right. Then, for example, on our platform, when we looked at providing insurance as an option. So we tied up with one of the famous leading banks here in India, and we started providing insurance for their shops and their family members within the platform. The second tool, for example, is access to credit. Okay. So our recent partnership has been with Paytm, where we have gone along with Paytm for our payments. And the idea behind that was we can bring in a lot of products which are there as a synergy on Paytm platform, like loans, NBFC loans or malls, which can help our customers to interact through the same platform to different needs they have. Okay. And the third segment is what we have done is in terms of identifying the tools, we have divided our customer life cycle into 3 different segments. What are his personal needs and what is his personal need? What is his business need? What is his extended network need? And then we started to identify, okay, if a guy is talking about pure business, these are the 5 things on which we should extend our platform into. Okay. And one of them obviously is logistics, which we are planning around, because logistics plays a huge role in the supply chain in terms of transferring goods, right? The second is, what is that this individual and his family need? Okay. What are the tools we can provide there? Okay. With this, with the purchases or let's say day-to-day marketplace purchases which he does online, how can we make it easy? We started integrating them directly into our platform. Okay. Similarly, when it comes to business, credit was something which was much more physical in Indian industry. If you leave the top 1-2% where it is structured credit, 90% of Indian SME works on unstructured credit. How do we enable unstructured credit to come into the system? So that's where we looped in 8 to 9 NBFCs who were ready to provide this little bit structured credit for us into the platform itself. So that is how we have approached this. We identified what customer goes through at an individual level, at a business level, at a family level. And then we started to work on it.
Sure. So quick follow-up question. So do you see the threat of cybersecurity increasing in a post work from home scenario? Is it something that is going to bother Indian businesses?
I definitely see that happening, not because the threat is new. The threat was always there. The only thing is, because the usage of platforms has increased, you will see the frequency of occurrence being much higher. But as a percentage, it may still be the same. It may not vary much.
Got it.
So that is where I see.
Sure, sure. A question to everyone is, one strategy that's worked for you, which you would want to advise budding entrepreneurs, people who are stuck. Krishnam?
It's a little difficult question you asked me, because it's one strategy you asked me, because strategy can always be dependent on tactics way, but I'll try to narrow it down. I think for any organization or a business per se, if the focus is always on the core customer and the value proposition we are giving, okay, then there is a motive even for the team or the organization or all the stakeholders involved to be connected to that passion. Okay, you cannot, I mean, I can appreciate the inputs which have come in, but I think they will also agree, you cannot motivate a team without a core concept which you are taking to a market. It becomes very difficult in a business unless there is core value proposition which is there. And I think we are lucky enough to be in a generation where things will keep on changing, because that will help us keep learning and adapting to new situations, which is very much necessary. So I think core customer focus and openness to learn is the right strategy which will help us in this digital age. Because one of the members, as Litesh has rightly pointed out, right now our focus is to think about
openness to
the technology side, how blockchain will affect us in 3 to 4 years, because that is going to be the future of transactions. Okay, so we have to be mentally prepared today to visualize what is going to happen 1 to 2 years down the line in terms of transactions. So I think that's it. Keep focus on the customer, give a good value proposition, then rest all things get attached to it. That's the way I look at it.
One quick question before we wrap this up, starting with you, Krishna. What have you been up to in the lockdown? What's been your stress buster, or was it something you've been reading of late?
I'm an ardent reader of history. So because I try to get a lot of insights from what people have done in the past, how they've dealt with the situation. So specifically about the Great Spanish Plague. This was one topic which I wanted to read, because I wanted to get insights how economies dealt with those situations. Otherwise, my interests lie in technology, mostly into blockchain. And then I'm also a very ardent fan of telecommunications, because I spent a decade in telecommunications before I came into software industry. So I always feel, I think I empathize with what Aditya has said. I always felt that telecom per se is a wrong name. It's an acronym used. It should always be connecting people. That's the way it should have been. So I keep reading on technology a lot. Okay, that keeps help. Otherwise, I'm into sports actively. So these are the ones I'm going on with. Yeah.
I think I should rephrase. What is it that you've not been doing? Because I love the mix, sports, reading, technology. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in. I hope we do an offline version of this event very soon, where we get to sit across a table, and I'm sure it's going to be great, interacting with all of you offline. Thank you so much for taking time out. It was indeed a very insightful discussion. I wish you all the very best, and I'm sure the next few months, the next quarter, it's going to be prosperous and a lot of abundance coming your way. Thank you so much. This is Anmol signing off Thank you on behalf of the talk.